Welcome back to the crochet class. We're getting just the last pieces of information that we need today to do all the other projects in the Yule pack / nature pack. For the frills on the bottom of the mushroom, this is also the way we add the little seed bits to the pine cone. So this method that we did here, we use this for the Christmas trees. We use this for the moss. The main thing that we are changing for all of these is how many chains we're doing each time, but it's the same basic idea. So the log is a little more complicated because we don't have a nice even line to follow. All the other times in this pack when I'm doing this chain function to give you sort of leaves or branches or texture, it's always followed along on the spiral up the front loops. But because we want this to be a little more chaotic in nature, because nature is chaotic, it's going to mean that we're gonna have to be really kind of thoughtful about how we're working our way around. So I have been working this sort of in chunks. So we're gonna chain 3, 1, 2, 3. So now I'm going to work here, but I don't want to leave a hole, so I'm going to fill in that hole as I go. You want to make sure that you're pulling this apart as you're working so that there's not a secret front loop in there. But now we're going to move over. Still feel great. And work down this point here. And now we're going to work over here to this one. And let's say that this one went a lot further down here. I could jump to it, or I could work my way down, and then you can always work your way back up. I think there's, like here, for this one, this went down much lower than all of the front loops next to it, so there wasn't a good way to go diagonal because it would just leave a funny shape. So these were worked in twice. So I went down and then up the same front loops. That's fine if you end up doing that. We're just gonna keep working in our front loops. And what I like to do is try to work in such a way that I leave myself a good chunk in the middle that I can come back to. So I'm just gonna get these edges the best I can for now. Yeah. Let's do a color change. I randomly started this ages ago. I think it was supposed to be a bird's head, but I'm going to use it to demonstrate a color change. So what we want to do is, what you can do is you can go ahead and tie it off your old color to your new color so it's on the inside of your work. And that'll just help you keep tension. Otherwise you can just hold it tight for now. On the stitch before your color change, you're going to begin. This is a single crochet, so I'm going to begin my single crochet. To finish this, I would yarn over and pull through. But instead of yarning over and pulling through, I'm going to wrap around my new color and pull that through. You're going to keep all of your thread, other than your working thread, held tightly down here. Now we're going to make our first stitch with our color change. Because we changed our color as we were finishing the last stitch, that means that we have a complete yellow. In this case, we have complete yellow stitch and then a complete pink stitch. So I really like to change my color as I'm finishing the previous stitch. Most of the time I work in spirals because it's a lot easier for me to work in spirals. We just need to keep track of where the next line begins, and you don't have to worry about doing the chain method. But for the logs, we really want to make sure that instead of a spiral, we are changing our color in a circle. So it creates the rings of the log. And that means, so here I have my magic ring with 6 stitches in my magic ring. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now, normally, I would put a stitch marker here and I would carry on. But we want to get the ring effect, so that means I'm going to change my colors here. So I'm going to, because this is the first one, we're going to really work extra hard to make sure that we're nice and tight. I'm going to pull the previous working thread, pull the current working thread, hold that nice and tight. Now we're going to slip stitch into the first stitch from our previous round. And then we're going to chain 1. Now this does not count as a stitch. So we are going to have to do our first stitch here, single crochet, and then, oh no, we're doing an increase because this is the second round. So we're going to increase all the way around until we get backed. So I should have 6 increases. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 increases. Perfect. Now I'm going to change my color and I'm going to slip stitch into the first stitch. Now we have a bit of a mess here because we started off with slips and chains. So this is our first stitch here. So you can see that we have the increase. We've got 2 stitches. This is the first stitch. This is the stitch I need to be slipping into. But first, I need to change my yarn and pull these nice and tight. You can kind of see this one, the colors are kind of bleeding. That's because I didn't do a very good job keeping things nice and tight. You keep it nice and tight. There. Now we chain. Oh no. Stay in the, we are going to go back into the same stitch that we have slipped into and add our single crochet and increase. So I'm going to keep going around, and every time I get back I'm going to change colors and chain, slip, and then chain up. For the Yule log and for the mossy log, first of all, the way that I made the pattern is I made these 2 little nubbies on either side to give it a little something to help it to sit without rolling. So these 2 little nubbies are basically the feet. So these should be down. And then we have this branch that we are going to decide where you want to go. This is kind of up to you. Make sure that those feet are down. And then I think I like mine about here. So what I do is I would start to sew it down and then add in stuffing when I get close to it and then finish it up. And we'd have a little log with a little branch. So I have crocheted the cone bars, like these lines running through it. These are all of the leftover front loops. So now that we're at the top, we have a hole. So I'm just going to slip stitch across. So tighten that up, and then we'll do so we've got the hole closed. But now we want to start going back around, so I'm going to try and get back up to this top one here. So I am going to slip into that and now chain. So this is my medium size, so I'm going to do 4 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now I'm going to do a slip stitch into the next front loop. And we're going to do the same chain again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Are we in? Okay. And then we are going to slip stitch into the next front loop. We're just going to keep doing this all the way down. And yeah, this is pretty meditative. You don't need a lot of brain power for this. You just need a lot of time and a whole lot of yarn. Thank you so much for sharing this journey with me. It's been a lot of fun to create this whole class for you. Let me know if you found it helpful, if it's helped you along on your crochet journey. And if you have any questions, let me know. And if there's enough questions, then we'll do one more Yule Pack crochet class video, and that'll be a Q&A, and I'll try to address any questions that come up. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Maybe for a Q&A video, or I've got other really cute stuff up my sleeve too, so stay tuned.